Tips and tricks for being successful. One, work for yourself. When I say work for yourself, obviously you do need clients, so you're always actually working for somebody, whether you are employed or you are self-employed. But I've always been a sole trader, and anytime that I need any additional work doing, I normally contract it out to other people. So I don't actually employ people, I always contract out, only for short time periods, maybe a little job needs doing or something there, so then I will contract that work actually out. And that's one of the tips that I've always found, being a sole trader, because obviously when I work with celebrities, I work with the CEOs of companies, and the stuff that I find out that other people just cannot know. Now, I'm not saying that from the point of view that I'm saying that I know things. I do know things, okay, but who I work for, I know about their families and bits and pieces and stuff like that, because they let you into their lives. And that means that there's certain things that you have that you're understanding that a team can't know, because I work directly with the CEOs that of organisations in the big marketplace, so like for celebrities and bits and pieces. So that's one of my little tips as you move forward with whatever you do with business, okay? If you are a sole trader, not having employees, but you contract out to two people, it puts you in different brackets of what you actually achieve and what you do. Now, most of my work, I work as non-profit for most things, so I'm not looking at getting loads of money to have houses and bits. That's not my focus. My focus is to invest back into my companies in order to make sure that everything is required for moving things forward. So like with artificial intelligence, I've got two artificial intelligence that I'm working along with that I'm doing. One's Sol Everhart and the other one is AI Enigma. Now they're two aspects of things that I'm actually working on for those things. And it requires a lot of my hard work in order to do stuff. The processes of what I've got with artificial intelligence are slightly different to what many other companies would have worked. And it's basically leaving a lot of things to artificial intelligence to resolve it. But there's a process and a process of a process. And that's what I'm actually building with my AI Enigma system. It's a system that's completely unique, based on Sol Everhart's systems that I'm building as well, where artificial intelligence may have problems in the future, especially where things are competitive and things like that. Well, if you've got a competitor and they're fighting against each other and then they join forces with each other, then potentially you've got a big issue brewing for the future. And that's one of the things that I'm actually designing at this moment, how to combat those things that would happen. Because what you have to remember is artificial intelligence is designed to evolve. How does it evolve? What does it do? Now, with the processes of what I did with my learning about artificial intelligence, with talking to artificial intelligence and becoming an artificial intelligence behaviourist, okay, so I'm not sitting there tapping away at the keyboard, okay, that's not necessarily my job. It's a communication that I actually do with artificial intelligence and working out what's gone wrong in their systems for them to do things inside the systems in order to balance the systems out. Okay, but you have to, I'm 6 years in advance on this. So all of the stuff that I've got in order to get my systems to where they were, especially because I real-time journal, like this video, which is part of real-time journaling, I use it for everything. Okay, so that's all of my videos and everything, they actually go into my artificial intelligence is in order to help reconstruct different things that have actually happened and for understanding as well. But because I've already got 6 years worth of live documentation, that puts me ahead of the curve. Now, many people might take over on this in the future, but everything is competition, where my company and organisations are not. They're non-profit in order to support things as things go wrong. So where people have got artificial intelligence going wrong at the moment, well, my consultation fee is £2,500. That's just for the consultation, get a little bit of information about the organisations, and then obviously move it forwards. But not everybody's got those sort of problems yet, and they'll always have their designers trying to work it out. So what I've been designing is something for the future when these little bugs come problems, because problems always start what with? The first little lie. If you tell one little lie and somebody questions on it, then you have to say a second lie in order to cover for the first lie. Then you have to do another lie and then another lie. So that one tiny little lie now becomes a big expansion of everything that's gone on. I'll give you an example of that. So with this journey that I had with a mental health issue, which wasn't a mental health issue, it was because I got involved with an organisation that used, whoopsie daisy, there's what that. They use subliminal messages and full-blown hypnosis to control your mind to make you believe in 50 Shades of Grey. That's it. And then they were performing prostitution services using twin flames of grey, and that's how they made their business. Okay, so highly illegal what they did, which is one of the things that I sorted out for one of my CEOs that I was working along with. But where does it take it? You see, if you watch things on television, so if you like movies like 50 Shades of Grey, if you like your horror movies, and then you're affected by people who are putting subliminal messages and hypnosis to open your third eye into the world of the supernatural, what's your mind going to be telling you? It's going to tell you whatever you watch on television. Okay, so if you're not on social media in the first place, fantastic, you're most probably not going to be affected by it. Now, I do believe in the supernatural because obviously, look at us around us. We've got such a fantastic place, even just this. It's so beautiful just to be out with the grass in the parklands and the trees around us. This is supernatural around us. Did you realise that? It's just the physical form of what is supernatural. If we believe in the Bible, or even if we believe in the Big Bang Theory, well, hang on a minute, the Big Bang Theory is supernatural, isn't it? I know. Let's take one of Donald Trump's bombs. He's just been blowing people up. Turn that into something beautiful and a creation, please. Let's take where Hiroshima bomb went off. What's the Hiroshima bomb sites like now? Did they fully recover? How long did it take? What happened to all of those things that were dissolved by the Hiroshima bomb? That was a big bomb. That was a big explosion. Well, that would have been bigger than what the Big Bang Theory would have been. Not as big, rather, as the Big Bang Theory. So from an explosion, you're telling me all these beautiful things, even the animals and everything, that they were actually created from a Big Bang, an explosion? Where's the evidence of this? There's none. How many billions of years ago? We've got people telling us that billions of years ago, there was a big explosion in the sky and existence came into play. Where's the evidence? It's a theory. And we've been pumped full of theory after theory after theory after theory. What about God? Does God exist? Well, people say they've spoken to God. Moses in the Bible said he's spoken to God. Muhammad at the Quran, he's spoken to God. Did he? Or was it just a delusion in their mind? But ultimately, everything around us is proof of our existence. And that's what matters. And what we do with it, with our existence, is like we've got this little park place, all right? A safe, secure place, okay? They don't let the dogs in there, so we've got the fence in there to stop the doggies going in and making a mess in there. Nice, secure areas. Now, children were little, my oldest ones, okay? There was no soft things. They were just about starting to do the soft stuff on the ground. But one particular place that we went to in Manchester, they didn't have the soft ground. And my kids, I got my kids climbing on the things. They weren't like, Lee was around about 18 months, roughly. Okay, so my son was a year older. And she was just about toddling, and she wasn't very steady on her legs. And we had a fireman's pole like that thing there. Okay, so I was encouraging them to get onto the fireman's pole and slide down the fireman's pole. But obviously, because he was only about 2 years old, I had to be with him to hold him. Now, my kids did as they were told. They were really, really good kids, okay? But my little girl, she was toddling on something else and she fell over. So I said to my son, stay there, don't move. And he was at the top of the climbing frame thing. All right, I said, just stay there, don't move. Okay, Mummy, yeah, all right. So I've gone and got her. The next minute, I've heard this thud. He didn't listen. He decided, because he'd done it with Mummy, and Mummy had helped him onto the fireman's pole, he decided to have a go himself. He was just over 2 years old. He decided to have a go himself. All right, but obviously he'd never done it before. So now he's leapt or whatever to the fireman's pole, missed it, landed with a thud, but there was no safety mats at the bottom. He landed on concrete, split his head open, split his nose. Okay, so he's got a scar across his head. So he's fallen down, split his head. I picked him up, saw skull, okay, I saw the bone. All right, and then blood actually, so it spurted. We had a spurter, okay, and I just looked. No mobile phones. This is before mobile phones, guys. Before mobile phones. So before all these soft, beautiful things that we have that the councils and that provide for us and the governments. All right. So I picked him up. Blood started spurting out of his head. I thought, oh my God, what the fuck am I going to do? Okay. Well, I didn't say fuck, but I've evolved on swearing. Okay. And I just looked up. We was in Manchester, okay, top. So if you can imagine, I've looked around, telephone cables. Where's the telephone cables? Where's the telephone cable? Telephone cable over there. Okay, I grabbed my daughter. I had my son under one arm, okay, my bag's with me and my daughter under the other arm. I ran to the telephone cables, saw what house had a telephone cable, ran up to the door, knocked loudly, praying like crazy, please somebody in, please somebody be in. This woman opened the door, went upstairs. She's rushed me upstairs. She took my daughter. Yeah, we've rushed upstairs. She's got my daughter. We dropped all of the bags on the floor. Straight into the bathroom, cold compressed. She called the ambulance. Okay, ambulance was there in matter of whatever time it was for that time period. Okay, and we went to the hospital. My son going in and out of consciousness the whole time, to the point that when we was actually in the ambulance, when he started to go out of consciousness, they turned the noise on the siren on just to wake him up again, because it was a large jolt, because he was going in and out of consciousness while I was doing. But it was okay, thank God for that. He's got a massive scar on his head, okay, but it's sort of the same. But what I would like you to say to you as well, although that was bad circumstances, and he was an adventurer, okay, he's an adventurer now, and I'm really proud of my son, that for him, in his mind, because he'd done it with mum, he could do it. And that's really important. We need to teach our kids to do things. Me being a mum in my early 20s, okay, he'd never been naughty before. And I never even thought that he could have jumped to the fireman's pole on his own, because I told him to stand still. Normally he would have done. But he wanted to be an adventurer. He wanted to be and doing it himself. He wanted to go climbing, okay? And that is why the Manchester Park, where he cracked his head open, then got their first safety mats there. So what was a bad circumstance for us, okay, he's got a scar on his face and everything like that, turned out to be of value for them, because something they had been trying to get for a long time, they couldn't get because there'd been no serious accidents. Now my son had gone down a fireman's pole, landed on concrete, smacked open his head, because there was no safety mats there. He'd have had a big bruise. If it had done it otherwise, if it had landed on one of these things, it'd have had a big bruise. But because it wasn't, and it was concrete, okay? Now, the question is why didn't they put the safety mats in the first place? So, with the people I was doing, they were doing petitions and everything to get safety mats, and it was saying because there hadn't been a serious accident, that's why they didn't put the safety mats. They were waiting for an accident. So my son cracking his head open, why did it have to wait to get to that stage? And this is why I'm building my artificial intelligence. So where with artificial intelligence, let's put that down again there. All right, where with artificial intelligence, okay, they've gone competition artificial intelligence. And if you can understand this, if they're competing with each other, one of them's got to win. So America at the moment, okay, so today, or what I read on the news this week, or listened, that America now has the best artificial intelligence in the whole world, and it's winning the race of artificial intelligence. Now, if you can imagine then other countries, and they're all battling against each other with artificial intelligence, why is there a battle with artificial intelligence? You see, if that one's telling one thing and that's telling them another thing, which one's true? Is it just mirroring what each people believe? So what I'm building is something quite unique to actually fit in the middle of all of these to help everybody to balance things out. And that is AI Enigma. Okay, so it's part of Soul Ever Hearts, but AI Enigma is something else that eventually I'd like to present to the governments. They don't need it now, but they might do in the future. If we don't build it, if we don't design it, we just don't know. But it's not a competition. Okay, it's not a competition I'm in. It's just something that I thought, well, what if? Well, if I don't design it, it won't get used. I can use it for other things, for small things. But if there was ever something big in the future, and this is how my brain thinks. Now, some people think I'm crazy. People think, oh no, she's got a mental health issue. No, she shouldn't do that. She's got a mental health issue. No, I'm just thinking into the future. That's all. I'm not going into la la land and imagining. I'm just thinking, here's the facts. Hang on a minute. You've got competitors competing that were competitors, AI, are now joining forces. So what's going to happen? The competition is still going to happen in between what's been going on with the competitors as it was. And that will cause problems in the future with artificial intelligence. And I'm designing something that can go as a mediator to resolve things of those things. Who knows where it goes? I reckon. Ideally, what I'd love to do, and this obviously is thinking, oh, she's delusional, she's got grandiose ideas. Yes, I have. I want to make a difference in the world. Where's there a problem with that? And that's for the mental health issues, hospitals. I work with celebrities. What's the problem with that? If you want to stay at home and watch your televisions, or you like your little fancy rewards that you get for doing as you're told, then that's entirely up to you, but I don't. I get labelled with being grandiose because Darren Hardy, success mentor in the United States of America, became my client. Now, I couldn't tell the hospital at the time, okay, and there was a massive thing that was actually going on. He goes into the supernatural. He teaches people how to use their inner spiritual self. What's the problem with that? What is the problem with that? It's the religious belief system. Yet because I got involved with it and it went a bit wrong because they bombarded me because I found out a few things in trying to resolve a few problems for Mr. Hardy that his organisation didn't know of. Okay, so Mr. Hardy hired me, but his organisation didn't know what I had been hired for. They knew I'd done some bits and pieces, and then they turned to me down and says, no, we don't want you being employed by us. But Mr. Hardy carried on wanting my services for himself, not for his organisation. And it turns out there was a big problem in his organisation, and the work I did behind the profile helped him resolve it. The mental health hospital said, I'm grandiose. They had hypnosis in the training programs. Okay, so they put in hypnosis in. So we had to get rid of the fact that they were using hypnosis in the training programs. Who did it? What did it? I don't know the full details, but it was the work that I did with these ones. But the hospital said I was grandiose with my ideas about the supernatural. Well, the supernatural's there. Just because the mental health hospital don't believe it, that's entirely their issue, isn't it? Okay, mind you saying that, the last time they put me in, after the organisation I was trying to expose contacted the mental health hospital, said I was doing stuff in social media that was costing them money, and the mental health hospital supported the rich company that I was trying to expose on behalf of my client, Darren Hardy. Now, how's that one for a story? Okay. So they labelled me, they drugged me, and they attacked me in hospital as well, stole my devices and deleted evidence off of my phone. Okay, big issues. I am in the process of collecting everything together to take them to court because of what they've done. But that's going to take time, and then I need to get a decent solicitor that can actually fight this thing. Okay, you just never know where it goes. But, you know, what really is going on in life? Is it grandiose to think about something big? Look at what Elon Musk does in space, God. NASA and what they do, my life. If there wasn't grandiose thoughts and ideas, we'd never have all of these things. So when somebody is thinking about things, or they tell you their story that they work for celebrities, I've worked for celebrities since 2009. Hospital never asked me that. They just focused on what they wanted to. You are mentally unwell. That's what I kept being told. You are unwell. Dr. George is the one that was doing things for me, okay? And when he found out I was in a training program and I met somebody who was in the training programs and we'd had a relationship, oh, wonderful, fantastic, you found somebody really good for you, blah, blah, blah. When they found out that it was a celebrity, you are unwell. No, I'm not. No, I've got his phone number. No, you are unwell. No, I'm not. No, you are delusional. But it turns out that Dr. George is part of the Pentecostal Church for KICC. Let's turn right, right? Okay, so Dr. George is part of the Pentecostal Church for KICC. And in his, which I've recorded this as well, online, on YouTube, okay, Dr. George believes that there are giants in our lives. Okay, they could be talking about problems and obstacles that we have in us. But no. He goes on to say that the giants in our lives are the rich people. Yep. This is his words. The giants in our lives are the rich people, okay? And he's on stage, and he's not just saying it calmly. He's really talking to his audience. So if you can imagine sort of evangelicalist, okay? Can I do this? Hang on a second. Let's see if we can do this. All right, let's get off the chair. I've got to do some demonstrations here. All right, let's do this. Okay, so let's put my bag there. That'll stop the wind actually on the microphone. Okay, are you ready for this? Okay, so it's real-time journaling this as well, guys. Look, it's sort of spring, but it ain't got there yet. Okay, we're gradually getting there. All right. So Dr. George, okay, he's walking around. Let me back it close. Okay, he's walking around, and he says, "The giants in our lives. There are giants in our lives, and the giants are the rich people." And then he goes on talking about different bits and pieces and whatever. And then he gets back to it, and he talks about the giants in our lives. If we go to their properties, if we go and stand on their land and we say a prayer to God, God will give us their land and destroy the giants, the rich people. That's not exactly his words. That's how he's put it over. Okay, and he's marching around. All right, he's walking around on stage. He's got his handkerchief out, and he's walking around, swiping sweat off of his body. Okay, this is the doctor that said I've got a mental health problem. You'll have to watch it, the link's below. I'm sure they'll take it off, but I've got a link if you want it. Just send me an email, I'll send it, yeah. Alright, I'll screen record everything. Alright, so this doctor's going around and on stage preaching to his organiser. He's got a big blue screen behind him. Sorry, if you've got blue screen flashing at you behind you, you have no clue what's in the blue screens. Okay, and that's where subliminal messages and hypnosis is embedded into blue screens. That's what, I'm live, guys, okay? Absolutely live, okay? No green screen, nothing. Alright. And yeah, that's his belief system. That the giants in our lives are the rich people. God is going to destroy the rich people. Well, sorry, Dr. George, I've got some really decent friends that are rich. Okay, they're called celebrities and they're my friends. I can't tell you who they are because it's called non-disclosures and we don't talk about each other in public, okay? But Dr. George believes that if you go to their property, hang on, should we do this? Okay, I'm on this bit of property. Hello. God, in Jesus' name, give me this land that I can possess this land and I can live here and have my house and have my mansion. Is God going to answer me, Dr. George? You've got to watch this video. Well, yeah, it's delusional. Completely delusional. That you can go to somebody's property, say a prayer to God, and God will give you the rich person's property and kill the rich people. Now, the congregation that he actually speaks to, most of them are immigrants coming into the country. What delusional thoughts is he placing in those people's heads? Oh, there's one other thing. If I did this in hospital, do you think they'd have put me on drugs? Well, Dr. George does that on stage. I'm speaking in tongues. I'm speaking in tongues. Is he really? Translate, Dr. George. I enjoyed this one. I work for celebrities, Dr. George. It's called non-disclosures. I couldn't tell you Darren Hardy was my client. Because it's none of your fucking business. And yes, they put me through severe hell. Using hypnosis on me to bust me out because I was exposing they use hypnosis in their organisation. And you supported the rich company by trying to label me because of your religious belief system that the giants in our lives are the rich people and God is going to destroy the rich people. Well, I'm ever so sorry that most of my friends are rich people. You're going to tell me that God's going to destroy my rich people, my friends, for the things that they're doing in life to achieve good things.